Welcome to another episode of the Renford ReWatched podcast. And in a slight change to the usual format, I'm joined by Alex, who's here to share his love of the show. So, welcome to the podcast, Alex. Tell me, how did you discover the Renford Rejects?
Well, okay, so for me, it was myself and my brother. So I've got an older brother, he's about 18 months older than me. And, growing up as kids in the late 90s, early 2000s, watching pretty much everything on Nickelodeon. One of those shows, obviously, being Renford Rejects, and us being a kind of football crazy family. We've played football since we were very, very young, since we were like 5 or 6, and we're both West Ham fans. Dad's a West Ham fan, and when a TV show like Renford Rejects comes on, it's based in England. It's to us at that age, it's the best thing in the world to us. So yeah, I've been pretty much a huge fan ever since. My brother's kind of trailed off a little bit, but I've kept it going for both of us, I think.
Yeah, it hasn't been easy being a fan of the Renford Rejects, certainly over the last, say, 15 years, because they used to repeat it on Nickelodeon, but after that, it just disappeared, didn't it?
Yeah, completely. And that is a little bit frustrating. And you can't buy a DVD of it anywhere. Anywhere you try and watch it online, it's very difficult. But then I discovered it was actually on YouTube. Luckily enough, I don't know who it was. Some nice person. If they ever listen to this, thank you, because I pretty much watch it from start to finish. I probably do it twice a year. I'd say 2 or 3 times a year. Just binge it from start to finish on YouTube. Hopefully one day they bring a DVD out. That'd be a lot easier. Although these days it's kind of streaming services, but I'm a DVD guy, so it'd be nice to have a physical copy of it one day.
It would, but we'll keep an eye on Paramount Plus. That's probably the place it's
Yeah,
going to be. The people that own Nickelodeon these days. So, in your watch through of the series, are there any episodes that stick out to you?
yeah. I mean, I was thinking about this earlier. There's quite a few episodes that we myself and my brother used to kind of watch on repeat as much as possible. And I think the one that we watched the most was probably the 1966 World Cup winning team episode. I can't remember the name of it, the actual episode. I think it's called They Thought It Was All Over. I think it
Yeah.
was the name of the episode. Because my dad there as well, we didn't really know as kids who these people were. And having Martin Peters there and Jeff Hurst, my dad, I remember him telling us, who these people were, and how much of an honor it was to actually have them on the show. And then, luckily enough, I actually met Jeff Hurst when I was probably a couple of years after that episode aired, which was nice. I still got the picture somewhere in my loft since moving house. Obviously, it's all packed up, but yeah, that was probably my favorite episode, my most watched episode, I would say. The other kind of episodes that stick out to me were the pig's bladder episode, the Roman one. There's a funny quote with the offside rule where Stoker came up with the offside rule, and then Eddie's response during that episode is probably one of mine and my brother's biggest quoted things from the show, just because we always find it pretty hilarious, really. The go-kart episode, that was a really fun one. Also, the last episode, I think it was in the show, with Sergio, the professional footballer that Eddie accidentally picked up from the airport. Obviously played for the Rejects. He's supposed to go to West Ham, and West Ham being obviously our team, obviously still is. They were featured a few times in the show, and that was always really nice and exciting for us to see. Harry Redknapp and Shaka Hislop was in there. There was a few other players kind of in the background. I remember the training ground as well with the episode of Bruno where he went to go and train there. So every time West Ham were in the show was always a big thing for us as well. So yeah, I mean, there's quite a few. I mean, to be fair, I think it's one of those shows that I actually really enjoy every single episode. I don't think there's an episode that I didn't enjoy. And as I say, I watch them on repeat, for probably a few times, a few times a year.
I know the feeling with that one. It's definitely one of those, I think you see something different every time. And I think the beauty of the show wasn't just it was about football, it also had other elements in it.
Yeah. Oh, definitely, definitely. Yeah. I mean, you had the. I remember the first episode as well because obviously you had a. I feel like it was a bit of ahead of its time as well, where with with Robin, because back then having the idea of a girl on the team, and even I feel like it's only kind of in recent years that kind of stigma is changing, but obviously that been in the late 90s, things like that, and I did actually rewatch one of the episodes the other day with I think it was the last episode where Eddie met Harry Redknapp, and he was talking about the 4-4-2 formation and how that's got to go. And it's funny because nowadays, I don't think many football teams actually use that formation anymore. So I think it was ahead of its time in a lot of ways. And Eddie being obsessed with Elvis Presley as a kid, as an adult now I understand it and get it, and I pick up every time I watch it. I pick up on more and more things. I didn't understand as a kid why his cafe was called Graceland. I didn't really understand how even his accent in this show, he does talk a lot like Elvis. I didn't really pick up on that as a kid, but as you get older, obviously you pick up on all of these kind of more hidden kind of jokes and things as well. So it's very interesting. The more you watch it, I think.
Yeah, lots of things in there, more than the football, but
Hmm.
certainly the time that it aired,
Yeah.
football was massive because it aired the same year as obviously the 98 World Cup. Do you have any memories of that?
The 98 World Cup was my first World Cup that I remember. Don't remember it in full detail, but I do remember certain kind of bits of it. So I remember because I think because my dad still lives in the house actually that we lived in during the '98 World Cup, and we had a TV on in the lounge, TV on in the kitchen. I remember while I was watching the game. I think my mum must have been cooking dinner at the time during the England game because I was in there watching the game in there, and then my brother was in the lounge watching the game in there. And when England scored, I do remember us running. So he was running out the lounge, and I was running out the kitchen, and we kind of bumped straight into each other. So that's probably the earliest kind of football memory that I have. And then obviously with the show at that age as well, it just made it even that more special. Probably did have a big hand in the love of football just in general for myself.
Yeah. Did you ever play football yourself?
I did. I played football. I mean, I was probably 5 or 6 when I started playing. I think my parents tried to get me into it as early as possible. And I played. I mean, just Sunday league stuff, and I'm not going to do a Jason Summerby and pretend I was a midfield general. But I used to play Sunday league football, up until I was, probably 18, 19. I mean, I'm 30 now, so it seems a long time ago. But I've had a few injuries. I've ruptured my ACL twice. I've ruptured my PCL once. I've had quite a lot of knee surgeries now, and I've kind of had to give up with it. But up until only a few years ago, I was kind of still doing like six-a-side stuff. Yeah, so I'd love to still play, and I'll still go to West Ham. I was in Prague to watch us recently win the Conference League.
Mhm.
But yeah, in terms of playing, I think I've kind of had to just give up with it at this point in my life, unfortunately.
Which member of the Rejects team do you think would have been fun to play with?
Oh, to play with. I
Yeah.
mean, I was a centre back, so I would have probably liked to play with Terry Stoker
Mhm.
because I like to go in and into crunching tackles with people, and I was always quite big. So yeah, I wasn't one of these flair players. I was definitely like a centre mid or a centre back, a defensive player. So I think Terry would have been the my ideal choice as teammate, to be honest.
That's a good shout. Yeah, that's a good shout because one great thing about that when it came to football, it kind of showed two sides of the argument.
Mm,
In the 90s, there was sort of this skillful contingent, and then they were sort of fighting, certainly with the beginning of like the Premier League and
yeah.
stuff. It's like that traditional football stuff. I mean, this kind of has it all.
Yeah, oh, definitely. And I also remember the episode with it was Martin Keown and Zola,
Gianfranco
because they
Zola.
kind
Yeah.
of yeah, and they kind of reversed roles, didn't they? So when they were playing doing the five side, Zola was the hard nut, and then Keown was one trying all the tricks and stuff as well. I do remember that. It's very funny.
Yes, the scene at the end where Stoker tells Keown that he's gone soft,
Oh yeah, and
and
he
then
started yeah, he's chasing him
immediately
away.
backs away.
Yeah.
But the confusing thing is, I was thinking about this recently. Robin Walker, who is something of a huge figure in this show because, like you say, it was ahead of time, but she was only in one series.
Yeah. It's weird. It is weird to think that because she's such a big part of the show, and it being in such a few amount of episodes. And I guess with Ronnie as well. He wasn't in. I think he came back a couple of times. Once with that when they were trying to save the pitch
Hmm.
episode. So I know like he wasn't in many as well. Really after season one or season two, but he's still. I think it's just that core kind of group of people in that first series, especially, are the ones that are always gonna stick out to me, and I'll remember. I mean, obviously, I remember all of them, but those, yeah, the original group were definitely the ones.
Do you think Stuart got better as a character? Because I'm watching through the first series again for this
Yeah,
podcast, and Stuart is a cardboard cutout.
yeah, he's yeah, he is very interesting. So the best thing I liked about Stuart was when he actually started playing again for the rejects. I remember for me and myself, and I could speak for my brother as well. That was always exciting for us to see. And that one episode where Vinny as well played,
Hmm.
I think he only played literally one game, I think it was. But and I did hear it on a podcast as well. He was the only one of the guys that actually I think he was actually off screen. He was probably the best footballer out of everyone, from what I understand. So yeah, Stuart was hilarious. I mean, after as watching it more and more as you grow up as well, how he acts like such a professional manager, like giving speeches and press conferences and things for a five-a-side Sunday league team, five-a-side team. You yeah, I mean, I didn't really pick up on that as a kid, but again, like I say, the more you watch it when you're an adult, the funnier these things can be.
Yeah, definitely. Because watching as an adult, when all the crazy stuff's going on around him, Stuart is the only one going, "What?"
Yeah. Yeah, he's the only kind of like when I think when they what's the episode where they all kind of take to the stardom a little bit too much, don't they?
Hmm.
And they don't really end up caring about the football, and he's the only one that's kind of keeping a cool and level head, even with the the go-karting episode. I think he's one who's keeping calm, going very slow and steady around the track. Then he ends up with the only one who's actually doesn't get kicked off.
Well, yeah, to the point where Priscilla
Oh yeah,
takes
yeah, where
over.
she ends up going, yeah.
I like the commitment to want to try and finish that race because they've all kind of crashed out. It's interesting that there wasn't a rule there that they could just carry on, that actually once they've crashed out, that's it.
Yeah. That was. I mean, I've been go-karting quite a few times, and I've had my fair share of crashes into the wall. And yeah, most of the time you just get pushed off. I think if you do it multiple times, then yes. But you think in the late '90s compared to now, health and safety wouldn't be as a bigger thing back then. But apparently it was even bigger than it is now.
Well, certainly when it came to that, it would depend, I guess, on the facility that they were using. Perhaps they had a different
Oh, maybe,
different
yeah.
thing going on there. This show, I think, continues to surprise me every time I watch it, especially when it comes to the guests that you have on it. I mean, apart from the 66 World Cup team, was there anybody as a kid that you saw that you went, who on earth are they? And then obviously as an adult, you're like, well, of course they are. For me, it was Alexi Sale.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Yes. I think, and as well for me, I think James Corden now. You look back and see him as one of the bullies. I mean, obviously he wasn't famous at the time, But looking back on it, it's quite funny to see him in older episodes. For me, though, I mean, the biggest ones for me as a kid, and even to be fair, even now, still as an adult, seeing West Ham training ground, West Ham manager, West Ham players was, that's they're always the standout ones for me. They did have what was the girl band, the girl group, the girl band they had there, because
Solid Harmony.
that was it. Yeah, because I didn't really know. As when I was younger, I assumed they were famous, and even as an adult, I didn't even really know who they were. So I did have to have a bit of a Google to check, and then I realised that yeah, apparently they were quite a big band back in the day.
Yes, I interviewed one of the band members about 10 years ago, and I asked them about the Renford Rejects, and they were like, "Yeah, that was I haven't heard it for a long time, but I'm sure they said something along the lines of that was a good PR exercise."
Yeah, yeah,
Which, for a thing that was just on Sky, because I think that's what makes it almost so niche, is that it was on Channel 4 for a while, but it was mainly on Sky, and not everybody had it.
yeah. That's a very good point. I mean, I don't really think about stuff like that when I was, when I was younger. What channels things are on and all of that. Luckily, I was lucky enough to have Nickelodeon back then. So yeah, I mean, any time it was on, I'd always watch it. And then yeah, like you say, they did have it on repeat up until a few years ago when they obviously canned it off. And I don't think it gets the appreciation or love it deserves, the show, in my opinion. I mean, I do see people on Twitter and social media kind of mention it here and there, but I think it should be a much bigger part of kind of pop culture than it currently is.
The lengths that they go to in the series to do things, the fact there's a go-karting episode, the fact that they went abroad and did episodes about the Romans and,
Yeah.
all these kind of big things, the fact that they got some of the best footballers of the last 60 years on screen, along with some of the best comedians. I mean, Tony Slattery was in an episode. The amount of names and ideas that are in this thing, it is such a surprise that it was just hidden away on this channel. I mean, the fact that it was repeated for so long is testament to how good it was, because it meant it stood up, even though sometimes when you watch it, it's a bit of a time bubble, isn't it?
It really is. And yeah, I mean, that's exactly kind of why I watch it. I think everything was kind of better back then. Everything, there wasn't all this conflict and kind of issue, a lot of these issues, social issues and things going on in the world. You could just watch this show and other shows and just kind of forget everything. And it's nice to watch it and put it on, and it just takes me back to the better times, which might sound a little bit cliche, but but it does. It's a very very special show. There's there's a lot of shows that I like. There's a lot of shows that I could rewatch, but Renford Rejects is definitely one of the, well, probably in my top three, I would say, of all time, if not the top one. It's probably the one I've watched the most. I'll say that.
What are your other two?
I mean, so this is not the same kind of show, but Supernatural. That's a good show for me. I enjoy that. And I would probably say, I mean, I know the last series was very bad, but Game of Thrones was a big one for me. But yeah, I mean, Renford Rejects is one. I mean, if you're just talking in terms of kind of Nickelodeon series, then that's definitely number one for me. Probably my other two favorites will be Kenan and Kel and Sabrina the Teenage Witch. They're the ones that I watch kind of on repeat, and I probably have watched them a few times. Actually, I recently finished Kenan and Kel again, like you say, because that's on Paramount, isn't it? Luckily, so hopefully one day they can get Renford Rejects on there as well.
I mean, the music licensing would be a nightmare, but
because
the music. Well, I say that they use the same music pretty much every couple of episodes. You hear the same songs or the same thing, and I think that's why sometimes when I see an episode and I think I don't remember this one, and I think it's because they use the same music, so you don't sort of sometimes get a sense of place. I mean, some of the music was random. Some of it was indie 90s, some of it was like mid-70s stuff.
Yeah, yeah, and obviously with the theme tune as well. I've seen some podcasts asking kind of how that theme Australia, the theme tune even came about. And from what I can understand, what I understand and what I've heard, no one really knows how or why that even came about. So it just seems to be a complete random kind of mishmash of music. But for whatever reasons, it works.
Well, I guess it's one of those songs that was current at that moment in time that
Mm.
didn't have many lyrics in
Yeah,
its
yeah,
main, in its main chorus or whatever. I mean, you actually hear the full song, and I'm shocked that there's more lyrics than just
yeah, yeah.
Australia.
Yeah, it's become, since I've actually listened to the full song, it's become one of my favorite songs. It's probably my most played on my Spotify at the moment. Especially when I'm walking to work, needing to kind of motivate myself and pump myself up a little bit before going to work. It's a nice little song to walk over to.
Are there any particular moments, and I know I get these sometimes, where you watch it and you go, that went over my head completely? Or, on the other hand, you couldn't get away with that these days?
um, I mean, there's a lot of jokes about girls not being able to play football. Jason mentions it with when they mentioned about Robin joining the team. Obviously, I feel like people would go a bit crazy nowadays, and obviously Terry and Basil, they have a lot of a lot of issues with girls joining teams. I think that would be the biggest thing to these days. But I don't know. I think you can actually get away with anything. Personally, I mean, I think if you look at South Park and what they do, all you have to have is an attitude of just don't care attitude. But I do think that they would probably shy away. I mean, part of me wouldn't want the show to be remade because they would probably have to, they have to kind of think about, oh, can we do this? Can we do that? And back then you probably didn't have to. And I think that, that made the show kind of, even better. I don't really agree with shows these days having to think about what, worrying about what certain jokes and things they put in. Because at the end of the day, right, it's all just good fun and light-hearted. And and that, and those things, it's not in the show because they believe it. They obviously proved it all wrong. For example, putting Robin, she's probably the best player on the team when she joined, and obviously she ended up joining Chelsea, didn't she, in the show? So it's like they kind of put something in there, but then they put those jokes in there, but then just kind of prove that, it's just not true, right? These people with these views, it's not right. So I mean, I think there's a few things like that they probably wouldn't do these days, but well, we'll see if they ever bring it back. I'd like to keep it as original as possible, but we'll see.
Yeah, it would be different,
Mm,
but at least you'd still have those original episodes. And that's the thing, when they remake these things, it's not like they destroy the original series.
yeah.
And that was a specific moment in time where it seemed, I mean, I wasn't really a football fan and I loved the
Mm,
show, but the world seemed to be really into football at that point. So it really matched the times, and what it referenced and the different people that you find in these situations, as I've spoken about with guests previously. We'll wrap this up, but this is such a hard question. If you met someone who'd never heard of the Rejects before, had no idea what any of it was, but maybe was interested in finding out, what's the one episode that you'd show them?
cool. That's a very, very difficult one to answer. I mean, I would say the 1966 team because that's my favorite episode, and it also gives you the kind of idea of, I mean, assuming people would know who they were as well. I think getting an idea of how important these people are to football and getting them into the show is obviously such a huge thing. So I would say that episode, or also another favorite episode of mine is the one where they go to Loftus Road. and Jason gets on the pitch. I think that gives quite a good insight to the team as well. And Jason. I can't. What's the word? I can't say the bull BS. I'll say BS. The BS that he comes out with a lot. That's kind of in full swing in that episode as well. So I'd say one of those 2 episodes.
Excellent. Well, please do come back, and thanks, Alex, for appearing on the podcast today.
Thank you very much. No, I'll keep an eye out, and happy to join anytime. Always happy to talk Renford Rejects.